All right, fellas, let's have a moment of real, unfiltered honesty here. If you had to guess right now, how long do you think the average man lasts during intimacy? Is it 20 minutes? Half an hour? Maybe you think an hour is the gold standard? Now, what if I told you that the reality is miles away from what you've been led to believe? In fact, the actual global average, the one backed by stopwatches and clinical data, might leave you absolutely shocked. Today, we are going to strip away the myths. We're going to break this down using real, timed data so you finally know the truth about performance. Not the Hollywood version, not the locker room exaggerations, but the cold, hard science. Before we dive into the numbers, I'd love to know, where are you watching from today? Drop your country or city in the comments. I make it a point to read through them because I love seeing how far this community reaches. And if you value a place where we talk about the things most men are too embarrassed to ask their own doctors, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. We're building a community here based on confidence and health. Here is the truth. Most men are walking around with a completely distorted idea of what normal looks like. Why? Because we are bombarded by social media, movies, and casual conversations where guys feel pressured to inflate their numbers. Everywhere you look, there's this unspoken rule that lasting 30 or 60 minutes is the gold standard of masculinity. But biology tells a very different story. When researchers actually timed couples across the world, the real average was significantly shorter than you'd expect. And I want you to hear me clearly, that is not a bad thing. It is normal, it is healthy, and it might be exactly what your partner actually needs. Today, we're clearing the air, looking at the data, and then I'm going to share the 5 most common habits and mistakes that affect your duration, plus exactly what you can do to build that rock-solid confidence back up. For those of you who are new to the channel, hi, I'm Dr. Jocelyn. I'm a urologist, and for the past 5 years, I've specialized in men's health, intimacy, and performance. Every single week, I sit across from men in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond who carry a silent, heavy weight of worry about this exact topic. They feel like they're failing a test they didn't even know they were taking. The good news? With the right perspective and a few simple biological tweaks, those worries usually melt away. We're going to talk through this today, openly, respectfully, and most importantly, based on science. Let's look at the landmark studies. Researchers looked at over 500 couples globally and asked them to use a stopwatch. They measured what we call IELT intravaginal ejaculation latency time, basically the time from the start of penetration to the finish. Here is what the science found. The average duration worldwide was 5.7 minutes. Yes, you heard that right, less than 6 minutes. Now, within that average, there was a wide range. Some men lasted seconds, others lasted nearly an hour, but the vast majority of healthy men fell right in that 5 to 7 minute window. Interestingly, the numbers shifted by country. In Turkey, the average was about 4.4 minutes. In the UK, it was closer to 10 minutes, the highest in that specific study. Think about that for a second. If you've been losing sleep because you only last 8 or 9 minutes, you aren't falling short. You are actually above the global average. Now, here is where it gets interesting. While men think the ideal is 20 minutes, surveys of women suggest a different preference. In a poll of over 4,000 women, many cited a preference for a total experience of about 25 minutes. But wait, that includes foreplay, emotional connection, and touch. It isn't just about the stopwatch time of penetration. So, why do some of us feel like we're finishing too early? Let's look at the habits and mistakes shaping your performance. Mistake number 1, training your body for a sprint. Many men don't realize that they have spent years conditioning their nervous system for speed. The biology. If your solo experiences are usually rushed, maybe due to a lack of privacy, stress, or just wanting to get it over with, you are essentially training your brain to complete the reflex as fast as possible. You are wiring a fast finish pathway in your pelvic floor nerves. The emotional impact. This leads to a massive amount of performance anxiety. You feel like a short circuit is happening, and you can't control it, which chips away at your dignity. The practice. You need to retrain the reflex. Practice mindful, slower self-stimulation. Techniques like edging, where you build arousal and then intentionally back off, help teach your nervous system that it's okay to stay in the high arousal zone without crossing the finish line immediately. Mistake number 2, ignoring the mental load. Your performance isn't just happening below the belt. It's happening between your ears. The biology. When you are stressed, your body is flooded with cortisol and adrenaline. These are fight or flight hormones. Evolutionarily, if you're in danger, your body wants to finish the reproductive act as quickly as possible to get back to safety. Stress literally speeds up your internal clock. The emotional impact. If your head is full of bills, work stress, or family pressure, you aren't present. You feel disconnected from your partner, which makes the experience feel mechanical. The practice. Shift your nervous system back into rest and digest mode. Something as simple as a 10-minute walk or 5 minutes of deep breathing before intimacy can lower those adrenaline levels and give you back control. Mistake number 3, the rush to the finish, skipping foreplay. This might be the most common mistake I see in my clinic. The biology. Men generally reach peak arousal faster than women. By rushing straight to penetration, you are putting the entire satisfaction burden on a clock that hasn't even started for your partner yet. The emotional impact. When you prioritize the stopwatch over the connection, intimacy starts to feel like a chore or a test. The practice. Think of the total experience. If the penetration lasts 6 minutes, but you've spent 20 minutes on foreplay, touch, and connection, you've hit that 26-minute sweet spot that most women prefer. You've already won before the clock even starts. Mistake number 4, poor physical conditioning. Sex is a physical activity, and your cardiovascular health plays a massive role in your staying power. The biology. Weak pelvic floor muscles can lead to an involuntary release because the muscles simply don't have the strength to maintain tension. Furthermore, poor circulation means less oxygen to the tissues, which leads to fatigue. The emotional impact. Feeling physically unprepared or out of breath undermines your confidence. You start to fear the physical exertion, which leads to pulling back. The practice. 2 words, Kegels and cardio. Strengthening the pelvic floor gives you a break to slow things down, and regular walking or strength training improves the blood flow that fuels your endurance. Mistake number 5, the comparison trap. This is the most damaging mistake of all, measuring your worth against a screen. The biology. When you compare yourself to unrealistic standards like adult films, your brain perceives a threat because you aren't meeting that standard. This triggers anxiety, which, as we learned, actually shortens your duration. The emotional impact. It turns intimacy into a source of shame rather than a source of joy. It makes you feel less than based on a lie. The practice. Reframe the goal. The question isn't, how long did I last? The question is, did we both feel connected and satisfied? That is the only number that matters. If you're concerned about your duration, here is the Dr. Jocelyn plan to get you back on track. Track your reality. For the next few times, don't guess. You might find you're already in the 5 to 7 minute normal range. Retrain the system. Use mindful breathing and slower techniques during your solo time to build that endurance. Strengthen the foundation. Incorporate 2 to 3 minutes of pelvic floor exercises, Kegels, into your daily routine. Focus on the whole. Expand your definition of intimacy. Focus on the 20 minutes before the stopwatch starts. Seek support. If you're struggling with sudden changes, don't be ashamed. Urologists see this every day, and there are very effective, simple treatments available. Here is what I want you to carry with you today. Lasting 5 to 7 minutes is not a failure. It is the global norm. You are not broken, you are not inadequate, and you are certainly not alone. Intimacy is about connection, not a stopwatch. Some of the most fulfilling, soul-deep experiences are shorter in minutes but deeper in meaning. Your value as a man isn't measured by a clock, it's measured by your presence, your care, and the confidence you bring to the room. Set down the stopwatch, my friend. Stop chasing an imaginary number and start chasing health and connection. Those are the things that last a lifetime. If this helped you breathe a little easier today, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and maybe share this with a buddy who you know is stressing out over nothing. I'm Dr. Jocelyn. Remember, age is not the end of vitality. Small changes bring freedom, comfort, and a whole lot of confidence. Stay strong, stay hopeful, and I'll see you in the next video.